There we go. Sorry about that. Had to fix a little something on my computer. So one thing you can do when units get back here is trap them in this space. And that's what we did. Set up siege tanks. I have quite a bit of units here. But somehow they actually get the upper hand. Maybe it's probably because these two Colossus came in for a sandwich. And everybody knows Colossus are very good against massed infantry. There's also these Mutalisks, and my army and my brother's army was enough to take this out, but was not enough to take this out. Once our opponent's ally finally got here, it really took both of our armies just to take out that purple player's army. And once this army came along, we really had to fall back. And sometimes I'm unsure whether to unload these bunkers and take them with. I mean, with all of these stalkers, I don't think 8 Marines would have really done a whole lot there. And here they go for some good harass again. This player is going up the front to juggle us a little bit, but really this is definitely the larger threat over here. They can get in and take out some very important structures back here, but really they focus down an infestation pit, which is a unit we weren't going, and it takes us a moment to muster our forces, which I really didn't have a whole lot at this point because it was right after that battle. But they get in here, do some more harassment. What they really should have done is focus down this Greater Spire, because there was 2 Broodlords morphing in over here. And really, obviously, we wouldn't have a Greater Spire unless we were going Broodlords. But that attack was pretty much, for the most part, nullified, because he didn't really take out anything too important. But I don't even notice these guys were hiding back here. I figured they fell back the whole way, and that it was safe. So I bring my army all the way back around, all the way up to the front. And as you notice, I'm not even macroing a whole lot. I have, what's the production look like? Oh, that's the pause button. Yeah. I need to change my hotkeys maybe. I'm not macroing up a whole lot right now, but for this amount of income, I need some more production structures. So he falls back down to here. There's not really anything he could have done alone against this whole army. But the other player is very smart, and they juggle us again. Finally taking out the majority of the structures back here, and it takes us from all the way over here to get all the way over here to be able to fend this off again. So really, we were trading. Here's a medevac that's not doing anything. So really, they were keeping us on our toes a lot. We were trading back and forth a lot in this game. They took out a lot of buildings, we took out an expansion, but also we're taking out some of their units as well, because really all they have are just stalkers. And sometimes they'll have a few Colossus. Like maybe, they probably could have tried High Templar. High Templar, of course, would be good against a whole ton of this bio ball. But also I've been making ghosts. Where are they? They're not here. They must have all died, and I have not made more yet. But there's some. So of course I could EMP, but honestly I'm not as proficient with ghosts because they're just not a unit I've used a whole lot. Let's say I was talking about some of my units got caught right here when I thought I told them to come up here, and so some of my units got taken out by this sort of over strong force, just because four Colossus makes a force very strong compared to a force that really doesn't do anything at all. So I was talking about ghosts. I'm not very good with using ghosts, but against two Protoss, it's a good opportunity to learn how to use EMP as ever. How much army do I have? I have one ghost still. There's that one ghost I was mentioning earlier, which I think will only survive that long because during one battle he was over here nuking instead of with the rest of the army. Otherwise he'd be probably dead with the rest of them. But I'm producing 3 ghosts now. I get how am I producing? Oh, duh, that's my unit tab. But I finally start getting more production buildings to start really using these resources. I start pumping out almost exclusively ghosts because this game I had a lot more gas than I do in most games because I wanted to be producing lots of marauders, lots of siege tanks to be able to keep up with our opponent, which marauders are very good against stalkers because they're armored units. They take more hits from a Colossus than Marines do, and so we were in pretty good shape for the most part. I mean, we weren't at this point. I don't think we really had an overwhelming force. At this point, I think they still could have tech switched and maybe been able to done, pulled it through. But see, there's no Templar archives. They have the Twilight Council because they have Blink and Zealot legs, but they stopped teching at this point. They could have gotten Phoenix. I would have liked them to get them Phoenix because after the recent patch, they have a shorter build time, and I don't think I could have gone any more anti-air than I already have. Of course, when I say this, I start to get Vikings. But that's because the only reason I got Vikings is because I wanted to use as much of my production buildings as possible. And Vikings, instead of just not using my starport at all, I got Vikings so that I at least have some more units than I normally would have. Using some scans off my very important 1 orbital command. This is when they finally get an expansion over us. Up till this point we were even on expansions, which I think if they'd gotten this one a lot sooner, they would have been in a much better shape because they would have had an expansion on us, been able to produce out more units, maybe tech up better or easier. But this one is much more exposed than the one down here, which would have been easy for them to have already had. But I moved my tanks in here, siege them up. There's a very good defensive position up against this wall here we utilized. And he falls back, waiting for his ally to show up. He shows up, but how many? 4 Mulisks, 7 Corruptors, about 8 Warlords. Really not much. And not to mention 6 Vikings. We really had a pretty overwhelming force at this point. I even nuked, which was unnecessary because I was expecting them to have a lot more units. And my brother actually noticed one difficult thing with Protoss is when they have Dark Templar hidden in their army and you don't have a detector with you, which he's over here. He's being pretty lazy. I finally get a scan off but more come in, and that's my one orbital command. I run out of energy to scan with. But what I completely forgot about is I even have some ghosts on full energy here almost, is that EMP reveals cloaked units momentarily. And I really could use that to save a lot of my units here, because this gets them back into the game a little bit. They take out 3 tanks, and they killed a lot of my bio before that. But my ally pushes in, harasses this expansion a whole lot. I come in to back him up. We find his Dark Shrine here and take a lot of this out. But over here, our opponent harasses our back alley again. I'll just call it a back alley. It doesn't sound right, but this is really keeping them in the game right here. My brother, he's stocked up on a lot of resources at this point, but they really kept us down on bases a lot. And actually, when we were playing, I never noticed these zealots back here, and actually they go into my base and harass quite a bit, as we will see here in just a moment. My BattleNet connection was lost for some reason. Uh-oh, I might not get an achievement for watching this replay. So here they go. They try to hit our front again, take out a good number of my units. Okay, my ally comes in to help, and they pretty much took out like a good deal of my bio again. Production. I have a lot of resources I'm not using. My attention was just divided by that battle, and here it goes up again. And then these zealots come in. I don't know how I didn't actually notice this. My brother noticed it somehow and sent some Zerglings in here, but they got caught up back here. No, couldn't get a surround with the Zerglings at all because my base is just all kinds of messed up. Take out a reactor here. I'm wondering if these zealots could have taken out my Ghost Academy, but they go after add-ons for the most part. And then I kind of notice that they're here, and I snipe these zealots with the ghosts because I really don't want to notice my ghosts. Alright, I can get achievements again. That's good. I didn't really want to lose my ghosts, certainly not to just a few zealots. But really all they did is take out a reactor. I never even really thought twice about how those even got there. And one very strong thing about Zerg is just being able to send Zerglings anywhere you want on the map to be able to harass or juggle your opponent. Now, one thing you definitely could have done is made these cannons